Hello, hello, lads and lasses. Cheers to you. I'm gonna pop over to the pub for a lager and some fish and chips. Then I'm gonna visit me mum's for afternoon tea before catching the derby on the telly or back at the pub. Don't be a knob or a wanker. What are you on about? Cheers, mate. What is up, everyone? Welcome to another edition of the podcast. As always, my name is Juan, here with Mark
Mm.
and Kevin.
Hello, hello.
Hold for applause. No applause has come. There.
The audience, they finally looked at the sign.
They wait for the name to be said so far. We like movies.
Oh, my bad. Miscue.
We like movies. Woo! There. I got you. Yeah, we had it on time there? All right.
We are popping back across the pond to the south of London to review the 2023 film Raine, directed by Raine Allen-Miller and starring David Jonsson and Vivian Oparah. Before we dive in, please remember to take a moment, depending on where you are listening or watching us from, to like, follow, subscribe, rate, and comment on our episode. This helps us move up charts on the various platforms so that others can discover us. We really appreciate it. And if you want to see every rating for every movie we've done, then check out our website at welikemovies.wordpress.com. Be sure also to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and join our Facebook group. As well as if you want to contact us, it's welikemovies.sometimes@gmail.com. Links to everything will be in the description, as well as bonus features for this episode. So please, please, please share us with your friends. It's the only way we grow. All right, let me give you the IMDb public service announcement. Let me give you the IMDb synopsis for the film. It's a short one. Two youngsters reeling from bad breakups who connect over an eventful day in South London. Raine is directed by Raine Allen-Miller in her feature film debut. The film stars David Jonsson, Vivian Oparah, Poppy Allen-Quarmby, Benjamin Sarpong-Brony, and Karine Peter. The film was released on March 31st, 2023, and can be streamed on Hulu. It is distributed by Searchlight Pictures and was produced by DJ Films, Turnover Films, BBC Films, and BFI. It has a runtime of 82 minutes and has grossed around $1.5 million. It is mainly a streaming film, at least in the US, through Hulu. The budget for the film is unknown, but Raine currently sits at a 97% critic score and the 90% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. Based on Mark's face, I'm going to guess he disagrees slightly. There is no tagline for the film. All right, this was my pick. I knew very little about the film, except that around the time that it released, which was not too long ago, I saw a good amount of people tweeting about it, some very flattering and positive things, which grabbed my attention. So that's why I chose it. I really enjoyed the film. It's a simple, cute, a word I don't use too often to describe a film, but it is cute, amusing, and entertaining love story, albeit an unrealistic one with an idealistic view of love. David Jonsson and Vivian Oparah have a lot of chemistry. The story is interesting enough, but it's really the strength of the characters and their chemistry that make this movie. The soundtrack is also really good and carries a sort of dreamlike tone throughout the film. If I wanted to dive deep into this, I could explore some of the modern commentary that the writers are making about relationships, gender roles, and masculinity and femininity, but I don't want to do that. I want to keep it surface level, and this was a fun, romantic, charming little movie. What I liked best is that at the end of the day, it's about two really quote unquote good people that are likable and seem kind, who experience the worst and best of love and romance and then find each other through that in a moving way. It also puts something positive out into although it might be unrealistic, but it does put out a positive message in a rapidly darkening world. So it provides some light, which is a good thing. Uh, since we like to sandwich opinions here, I'm just going to take a shot in the dark and invite Mark to go next with his initial thoughts.
So I actually used the word. Well, I had the word cute in my little hot take as well. I thought at the end of the day it was a cute movie. Um, I absolutely hated the soundtrack. I thought it was a toddler mashing their hands on a keyboard and putting it up on SoundCloud, and someone said, "This is great. I want you to do my movie," and they said, "Sure," and they did the just same exact thing. Just it was just, I mean, the opening shot just with that song, I was like, "What am I listening to?" It was just bad. Um, but other than that, it was okay. I enjoyed what I saw. Everyone knows that I'm not a romance guy, so it was cute. It was cute. It was cute and enjoyable. Cute and enjoyable.
There's some big names in that soundtrack, by the way, which is impressive for an independent film.
I,
But you got
I,
Salt and
I think
Pepper.
no, but I think maybe he didn't like the score, not necessarily the soundtrack.
Still,
Yes, the score, not the songs,
Okay.
because we'll get into that. Because obviously, Sign Your Name is probably one of the top jams in the world. So I'm not talking about that. I'm talking like when the movie started and it's like this just noise and it's hitting you. And then like when they're walking and talking, the noise that's happening, like that stuff.
okay. The
The
score, okay.
actual, yeah. Not the not the songs that were actually produced and recorded in an actual studio and not someone's
Uh,
garage.
I would say the tagline for this episode was going to be "Mark hates good music," but
No, not at all, and not those. I'm talking about like the
yeah,
filler, the filler.
yeah.
Yes, the score.
Okay. All right. So I'm up next. If there was a tagline for it, it should be "Queer Rye" for the straight guy. Queer being odd, because like it was an odd film. I likened it to, it's like the British little cousin of Garden State. It reminded me a lot of it.
Second cousin.
Second cousin twice removed on the British side, something like that. Wasn't as good as Garden State. I'm not saying that at all, but it just had to remind me of that. It was sweet. It was everything I love. So I'm like, oh great, this is all
Say
for the
it.
people who've
Say
been.
the word. Say the same word that we've said.
I'm building up to it. It's it gave hope to like people who are like, you know what, we've all been like dumped or broken up with, and we're like, oh, this sucks. And it would be great if this happened like in one day to someone, but it doesn't. And overall, like I said, I sat there. It was a cute movie. It was lovable. It was enjoyable. Had some genuine funny moments for me that I was cracking up. Yeah, and I
Uh,
can't wait to dive into this movie.
that is the Instagram post for this movie. Cute.
You know, just cute.
I have cute times three.
That's it. Just cute.
But tell me what you felt was so odd about it, because when you
Me?
started off, you were very you came out very
Oh,
strong, saying that the movie was
Oh, I'm
very
with you
odd.
on that, Kevin. There were some odd
oh.
things about the movie.
Yeah, no, like, and it's not odd in a bad way. It was just odd stuff I
It
wasn't
was
expecting.
quirky.
Like, yeah, like they were doing these
Sure.
flashbacks. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? They were zooming in, and like, I know that penis. You know what I mean? And then they show them peeing together. They're like, hey. So I'm like, that was odd to
Kevin,
me.
what are you talking about, man? We used to pee together all the time. Like, well, I could spot your penis on a wall, bro.
Dueling
so,
swords.
so it was just there was just some oddities to it. Like I said, it
Yeah.
wasn't bad,
Okay.
but like there was just things that were odd about it. It was entertaining,
Yeah.
but yeah, but odd just means like different. Yeah.
One of my favorite odd things. Sorry to cut you off, Juan, but one of
It's
my favorite, just to keep on the subject, there was a moment when they're walking, where our two are walking throughout their date, and they actually make it to. They're walking through a park where yoga is happening, and
Tai Chi, I think.
Tai Chi, sure, something was happening with a bunch of old people, which was just random. Um, but what got me the most is that after our main characters were done with their little 2-minute dialogue and they continue to walk on this path, there was a child on a skateboard just going down and just skateboarding, going, bah, 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 bah. And then it went to the next scene. I'm like, what was that? I rewinded it back to make sure that, like, I maybe I dozed off. It's a romance comedy. I'm not. So I watched it again, and sure enough, they finished their dialogue. They're walking off to the left, and on the right, we have a path, and a child is coming down on a skateboard. Bah, 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 bah. And then next, so there are oddities in this movie.
Right.
There's just
Like
one of the few things.
that one scene where they were in Rye Lane Market and that lady was trying to get out with the balloons, and then she gets out and the Six flies away. She's walking away, but then she turns to follow her. I'm like, what's that? And it doesn't follow that. It's just that, all right, which was cute.
All right.
But I was like, I don't know what happened.
That's another thing with the whole Rye Lane title. Anyway, so they're in the market Rye Lane, right? And they're walking through and they're progressing on their date. And there is a shop in this market that just sells balloons. So this lady, as they're walking up, they kind of like move the focus onto this lady and her balloons, and she's walking out with probably about 30 balloons, right? But as she's walking out, they're popping. Okay, they're popping balloons she's just paid for. They're popping, and then when she finally gets out, like 3 or 4 fly up, and then she walks like no big deal. For me, I'm like, yo, that's 5 balloons, 4 flew away. Yo, I need those back. And she was like, not a big deal. I only needed 4 anyways.
And then Yaz turns around to follow her and just runs after her. Like
I guess she was looking to save her. I don't know what she was trying to do, but yeah, there was just random things like that were just happening. But the penis thing was weird. Like
yeah,
I don't know friends who've seen each other's dicks. Like I don't.
We're gonna come back to that penis.
Oh, we're gonna jump into that.
But it was definitely highly stylized, very quirky. Yeah. I think in some ways it had some Michel Gondry type of influence, is what I kind of sensed. I agree with everything you guys have said. I don't find the Garden State comparison to be very accurate. It does Garden State is more than one day, so not even there. But
it's just parallel where it's
in Garden State, the characters are a lot more troubled and affected. This is nothing like that.
But it's the same as a quirky girl who's trying to help this one guy who's troubled, and then you find out that she's not as carefree as you think. Like I said, it's not an exact parallel. I mean, they didn't just copy paste.
You should have used one of Juan's top 5 movies.
I know, but like I said, no, he loves Garden State, so he's like, no. But I just said there's parallels that remind me of this adventure they go on, and then they end up like liking each other, and they're trying to help each other, and the guy ends up helping the girl out to deal with her emotional problem. It's there if you look, bro.
Reverse,
All right.
They both have titles. They both have credits. Similar.
Yeah. I actually think that the title Rye Lane is a slight nod to Notting Hill.
Yeah, because it's the area they're in, Rye Lane.
Mm-hmm. But Mark, give me the let's back it up sound. All right. So at this point, we're gonna back it up. If you want to watch this and you don't want it spoiled, go ahead and pause this and come back. because as you already know, if you've been following us for even just one other episode, we
This is
go
for the
into
newbies.
everything. So, as the movie starts, the main character, Dom, is in a bathroom stall crying over his ex. Yaz, who is the female protagonist, walks into the bathroom because it's a unisex bathroom and engages with him after hearing his sobs. She peers through the bottom of the door and sees his unique pink Converse high tops. Shortly after, she spots him at the art gallery that they are at. They begin talking and courting as they move from location to location throughout the city. Dom needs to meet his ex and her boyfriend, who happens to be his best friend. That's who she cheated on him with, because they want to try to patch things up. Yaz volunteers to attend with him, but Dom politely refuses. During the dinner, things are not going well, and then out of nowhere, Yaz barrels in, sits down, and introduces herself to them as Dom's hookup. She salvages the awkward occasion, and after, Dom is extremely grateful and impressed. I don't remember what, because it came up a few times. Did he call her heroic, or what was it that he said she was?
Iconic.
Iconic?
Yeah.
Okay. That still doesn't sound right, but I'll take your word for it.
No, it is. It is. It's
I
iconic.
watched it this morning.
All right. So then he asks her about her breakup, and she says that she broke up with her boyfriend because basically he was a douchebag. So she wants to break into her exes to get back a vinyl album, which is a Tribe Called Quest. She left it behind. Dom wants to help her, so first they have to track down whoever has a spare key, which leads them to several locations where funny things happen. They make their way in to her ex's apartment, but then he returns and discovers them. We then learn that it's actually he who broke up with Yaz, and she's still hung up on him. Dom is furious that their whole friendship has been built on a lie. That's where I'll stop. And
It's pretty
all
good.
this happens in one day, of course.
Yes, a couple hours to be exact.
So yeah, I mean, I'll say I really liked. Am I cutting out, or is it just me?
Just you.
Okay, it's my headphones, I think. Um, I like the characters. I think they did a really good job with the casting. Apparently, the actor who played Dom, David Jonsson, is from a pretty popular show or a recent show called Industry. It's from England. I haven't watched it though. But I thought, he did a great job, and so did Yaz. One thing that struck me though is Dom, Yaz, Dom, Yaz, Dom, Yaz, dumb ass. You see what's happening there? Why did they make that choice? Why those two
I,
names?
that did not occur to me till right now. But that's amazing. Tom,
Mm-hmm.
yes, Tom,
It's
yes.
probably because they were both being dumbass.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if it was intentional, but I was like, wow, that's
That's pretty
the
good.
odds
I
on that. Yeah.
dumb.
Good catch,
That's
Juan.
that's a fun fact right there.
So, one of the reasons that I said that, this film kind of challenges some conventions of the classic romantic comedy formula and of traditional sort of relationship or gender roles is because the first thing that struck me was kind of how aggressively she was pursuing him in this 24-hour courtship. Did that strike either of you fellas? Did you pick up on that?
I mean, obviously she was, because she makes it a point to follow him to the
Mm-hmm.
restaurant where he's meeting his ex and his ex best friend. I don't know. Well, obviously they're still best friends because he helps him move later on in the movie. Um, but yeah, no, I thought it was weird. I wasn't expecting her to show up. I knew they were going to meet up at some point, but I figured he was going to end that little interaction with them and then catch her up somewhere else. So her popping in, it was all right. I mean, the scene itself worked out very well. I like
Yeah,
how it played out.
yeah.
Is, I guess if you want to think into the whole, is it believable? Probably not. But it's a movie, so it's okay. But yeah, I did like how that worked out and how she kind of made it known. But he didn't pick up on it because when that ended and they went outside, he was just really happy about what happened, and
Hmm.
he was just like, "Man, I'll do whatever you want. Like, I'll take care of you. I'll buy you food or whatever you want." It didn't seem like he was interested in her. He was just so thrilled on the fact that she did what she did, and he's like, "Let's go,"
Yeah.
And then it kind of built up from there.
Just since we were mentioning that little get together with the ex and the friend, before I forget, I wanted to hate the friend who she cheated on, but dude,
Yeah,
that guy
right.
was that guy was killing. I'm like, I want to hate this guy. I'm like, I want to hate him, but when he's like, dude, stepping up, and he looks like he's like, oh. I was like, oh, like, dude, the man was killing everything he said. I was like, oh man, I want to hate you, but you're so good.
Did you
Yeah, he was
notice that? Oh, go ahead.
good. No, go ahead.
Did you notice that when she was like, by the way, he swiped right on me on Tinder the other night? He goes, I didn't swipe right on you. And then he's like, I didn't swipe right on anyone.
Yeah, and he's still talking when they leave.
Yeah.
He's like, what phone? I don't got it's on sleepy mode.
Yeah. No, at first I didn't like him because of the situation, but then like as he progressed, like he just went right back into bro mode. And obviously, the saying bros before hoes, but it's a movie, so we're letting it slide. But yeah, and I was happy to see him later on in the movie when Dom realizes that he does need to move out of his parents' house, especially if he's a successful accountant. Um, it was nice to see him pop up again, helping him move, and saying hi to the fam. But at the end of the day, I feel like, man, if any of my friends did that, uh,
Yeah.
we're not friends anymore.
Hmm.
We're
Oh,
not.
yeah.
I don't care what she did, man. Well, no, as long
Yeah.
as the only thing I'll allow is if she drugged you. That's it. You were passed out? Okay, fine. I'll give that to you. Other than that, you're a
But like,
D-bag. That's it.
both his friends were D-back because Nathan, the artist, he's like, you went to their painting party? He goes, I only was in a corner. I only painted a little corner, a door frame. I only had one croissant and I left.
Stayed for
Yeah.
45 minutes.
I was like, what a douche.
Yeah, it's funny though. I mean, I have no problem with it, but I do want to ask this question and raise this point. I think it's an interesting one, right? So let me pick up where I left off. She's pursuing him. Um, she is early on and for most of the time, she's the one kind of engaging him in conversation the most with questions, especially at the beginning. There's several times that he tries to get away, or he, just like, hey, I got something to do, or there, or this or that. Unsuccessfully. At the beginning, he's the one that's crying in the bathroom stall. Usually it's something that we would see, the female character doing. Then she engages with him in this vulnerable, questionable situation in a bathroom. And again, I have no problem with any of it. It works in this film. But my question is, what do you think the reaction would be if the roles were reversed? Right? And if it was the guy in the
But
bathroom, what if it was the guy storming into that dinner? Even though at that point they had already established that she really wasn't threatening. So that kind of helped the way that played out. But I'm thinking that if it was the guy, if the roles were reversed and it was the guy, there would be people complaining about him harassing her throughout the day.
if I can say something, didn't explain later that the only reason she was so aggressive in seeking him out and everything was because Nathan asked her to like, hey, keep an eye on him?
Did
I
it?
thought
I
they
don't know. I don't
I
remember that detail.
I think he got mad. He's like, oh, are you only hanging out with me pity because Nathan asked you? He goes, well, he asked me to keep an eye, but I actually enjoyed being with you.
yeah, I remember that. Yes, I remember
Yeah.
that.
So that's why at first she was so aggressively like she goes, yeah, I knew you were there. He asked me to go in, and basically, and then that's why she was sticking with him in the beginning.
I
But then
I
she,
yeah,
but then
that's a
she
good.
grew, yeah, then she grew to actually like him.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's like, yeah,
Yeah, that's a good point. It's an important detail. I still think, to a certain degree, my point stands.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I'm not saying it doesn't. I'm like, it's. I don't think it'd be anything different. It'd be like a young adult, one of those young teeny bopper movies when it's a guy saving the girl, or a Korean flick.
It's possible, but I think in this climate, there would be some people that would be, making
I
the
There's
mean,
no,
same.
I feel like in any climate, there's always going to be
yeah,
someone that's going to be pissed off.
there'll be some
What?
people for everything.
How
Okay,
dare she do that?
here.
Um,
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
mm,
And I think even her alpha femaleness was, at least it showed at the end, like it was all like a cover because she didn't want to admit, no, I didn't break up with him. He dumped me, and I was calling him, leaving him messages, begging him to take me back. She was just putting up that front because she didn't want to show, hey, this is who I am. I feel like crap.
nobody
But
want to
even
look thirsty.
but even still, like it continues all into the end, and it's just interesting. Like I said,
well,
I don't
well,
have a problem with it. But again, she's the one that
we
does the
do,
grand gesture.
yeah. Well,
It
we
just
do find her in the bathroom.
it just changes a lot of things, which again, I didn't think it was heavy handed. I don't think they were like, oh, we're trying to change role. I mean, there
Oh,
might have been some of that, but I think it worked because it just worked in the story and it
was
worked
it?
for
Yeah.
these characters. It didn't feel forced, it didn't feel like the message or the agenda, if there was one, what outweighed, just
Yeah.
having a really good story that had all these other really good things going for it as well. So again,
Was it?
I don't have a problem with any of it.
Oh.
It was good. It's
I,
just interesting. I think it's worth noting.
Well, at
if
the end
you
of the, oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say if you look at the interaction that he had with his ex and his best friend as a whole, I mean that went really well. That I mean that couldn't have gone any better. So if you kind of flip it and put a guy coming in to save the day with the girl, I feel like if it still went as well as it did, it'd probably work in the movie. But in like real life, no, I don't think that would have I don't think that'd fly, because the
Hmm.
girl's gonna, I don't need your help, like um, but then again, we saw like a perfect situation in a movie, and just everything worked out perfectly, and what she said just worked out great. They aligned perfectly. They were able to pull it off. So, you know, if you were to swap that and keep that same energy, I feel like it could work. Depending on how it goes from there on, and depending on how it was before, because the interaction we had before was really good. Like you mentioned, their chemistry is really good. I believed that they were falling in love with each other, that they were dating each other, and they were just falling down this pit of love. Um, so I think that helped as well. Um, if you can keep all of that intact, I think that scene could work
Hmm.
potentially.
Okay.
All right. Well, I was to say, it was like at the end of the day, she's just a girl standing in front of a boy, asking him to love her.
So there is something that I was a
I
little bit confused
shouldn't have
about.
cut you off, man. Sorry.
No, I just want to
So
get my
quick.
Notting Hill quote. I want to get my Notting Hill quote in there.
Um,
Sorry, go ahead.
and there was, and maybe I missed it, but I do feel like her character had some inconsistencies that is one of the weak points of the movie. But why exactly did Yaz and Jules break up? Because in her when she tells her side of it, when she
No.
lies,
Yeah,
it presents him as this douchebag.
I think that's
Um,
all we got.
Well, no, but I think
but
he
then
said that's why I dumped you because you're a crazy.
yeah, it was saying like you're crazy.
Yeah.
And he's telling Dom like, hey man, she's going to wreck your world and this or that. But
Oh,
it doesn't ever really show us what that means.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
didn't really that breakup. I didn't really understand it. I mean, yeah, they gave us a reason, but it just didn't connect because now you're revealing something about a character that's extremely important, right? Um, but it doesn't. It just kind of throws that out there and leaves it hanging. So now I'm like, I'm happy for them, but I'm like, is she crazy?
I took that as when you're breaking up with someone, um, you tend to take the low road and insult them, even if they deserve it or not. Um, like, let's say you had a perfect breakup, like you just were both like, man, you know what, this isn't working out. You go on your ways, and then I call you up, bro. I finally dumped her, man. She was the worst. She's keeping me down. I'm like, and I could talk trash, and um, I don't know. I feel like that was different. I don't know. I don't know. Kevin, please join me.
No, what I took it as is, um, they were only in a relationship for a little over a year, I believe. That's what she
Hmm.
said.
I
And
don't remember that.
well, yeah, she says it because he was like, I forgot how many years, 6 years. She's like, oh, we were just a little over a year.
Mm,
But
I remember that
I
now. Yeah.
I think what it was it's two not compatible people who were attracted to each other. She wanted something that he obviously couldn't because he was more not necessarily narcissistic, but he was just a different type of person. And she probably was trying to hold on to him, and he's like, "This isn't working out." And she was calling him, like even afterwards, just trying to make it work, even though it wasn't. And like you said, we've all been in breakups, and during that breakup, you start acting different because you're trying to make this relationship still work, and you're going a little bit crazy, or
Yeah.
it feels like you're going crazy. And then when you break up, like she met someone like Dom who's sweet, nice, and actually cares about her, and she doesn't have because I know girls who if they're a nice guy, they end up breaking up with them because they don't want to be with it. Like they want to be with a nice guy till they're with a nice guy, and they always end up with these jerks. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And that might have been her. And then she finally got to know Dom, a nice guy. She's like, "Hey, I actually want this." That's how I took it. That like, from his point of view, she's crazy, man. She's gonna ruin your life. She doesn't want to do anything. Blah blah blah. She only wants to do this.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. And for her, like, I think the part where she said he was a narcissistic person she believed that because he couldn't like meet her love needs and she couldn't meet his, and yeah, there was sex and there was attraction, but that's why it petered out after a year
Hmm.
Hmm.
because that's all it was.
All right.
But we shouldn't be speculating about it,
But we
because
shouldn't, but
No.
it's
Right. Right.
it's important for the
Yeah.
character because it was made such a big deal. Like they each went through a breakup. She lied. It's important to
Yeah.
now give her a redemption of like, here's why I lied, and they kind of do, but they leave these holes in it that as an audience member we shouldn't be speculating about it. Like, so it's just a weak point in the story. Um,
but on the flip side though, like yeah, we know that she cheated on Dom and like they just grew apart, but we also don't know what Dom did to like maybe contribute to his breakup. We don't know if he was, you know what I mean? They because I just think maybe the filmmaker didn't feel like those stories were important.
Perhaps, I
which
mean,
which they had time to add it in because it was only 82 minutes.
well,
But
but to that point though, like another weak point for me was from what they did show us of Gia. I mean, we got to know Dom pretty well. We didn't really get to know Gia, but from what I did see, I could not see them together for 6 years. I mean,
yeah,
it makes sense because sometimes there are people that are not super compatible, but they stay in relationships for a long time. So it's not a huge problem. But just when I saw their chemistry, when I saw who she was, I was like, I just don't buy, or
Not
maybe
6 years.
yeah, I don't know.
6 months.
but yeah, but she did say like people change, so she could have changed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like I'm pretty sure we
People
all
can
have exes.
change.
If we introduce people to our exes, they're like, "How were you ever with that person?
yeah.
Y'all don't seem compatible."
Bro, let me share a personal story real quick
Ooh.
because it fits this perfectly, and you guys actually don't know this. But speaking about nice girl, this was the story of my life before I got married. Like, oh, you're so nice and interesting, or this or that, but they would never commit. There was this one girl, bro, that I was talking to, and then I had, I think, stated my intentions. Like, look, I like you, this or that. She was like, yeah, I don't want to jump into another thing. Can we just be friends? Can we just take it slow? This or that. I'm like, sure, that's fine. So in that period, in that season of getting to know each other, just friends, strictly just friends, nothing romantic. We're like at a party one night or whatever, out late. I was like, oh, it's pretty late. I think I'm gonna go to the beach and like watch the sunrise. She's like, oh, that sounds really fun. I think I'll go with you. So we like,
Fun.
yeah, we go get
Fun.
supplies. Like we stop by her house, get like blankets. She gets a basket with food and everything to hang out. So we go to the beach. We're hanging out there, just talking this or that. At the end of it, or like the later that after we watch the sunrise, go home, part our separate ways. She like either that same afternoon like texted me, or maybe a few days later, she was like, why didn't you try to kiss me? I was like, are you crazy? But
Why
yeah,
did
that
you try to?
anyway.
I
Are
wish
you
I wish I had a
crazy?
boo. I wish I had a boo on the sound system.
Yeah.
Boo.
Oh,
Anyway, back to the film. This was certainly one that I was glad to be watching at home with subtitles, because I'm just saying there's probably a few things that I would have missed with the different
well,
accents that we saw.
Especially when they
well,
got to the British Jamaicans. Oh boy.
well, they were so slang heavy too. Oh my good lord!
Yes, that was tough. But yeah, no, I'm telling you, man, I live on subtitles, bro. Captions, I'm all about it. I put them on, make them big.
hmm
I
But
want, I want to see. I need to see it.
not an option at the theater though.
No,
Not an
this was on
option.
Hulu. I know.
I
No,
know,
This
but
was
I
on
mean,
Hulu
when you
though.
go to the theater,
Oh,
it's not an
I
option.
know. But and I've learned, man, like as I'm getting older, like these movies are getting worse. Or maybe just
hmm
my hearing's getting worse, but it just sounds like every character has marbles in their mouth, and they're just like some can do it better than others, but man, for some reason when it comes to just like the dialogue and the audio from the actual characters, it's like what is happening? Y'all using the worst mic for the most important people. I don't
hmm
understand.
hmm Um, yeah, no, I agree. I don't know what it is. But aside from the best friend Eric, who I thought was really good, I also really liked Jules's new girlfriend, whose name was Tabby,
Mm,
the Asian girl in the movie. For some reason, I thought she was really funny in that scene in the
yeah.
apartment. She had some really good lines.
dude,
Um,
and her menstrual cup wasn't that thing was killing me.
what did they call it? A midnight cup or
No, she
Moon
called it something else.
moon
Yeah,
cup.
moon? Yeah, something
moon
like that.
cup. But I was like, that's so disgusting right there. I'm
hmm
like, it's gross.
The old moon cup. Can we so Nathan is an artist in this movie.
Oh
And
yeah.
Nathan is the type of artist that likes to take pictures of, I guess, different body parts of humans. And so, the beginning of the movie, we're blessed with a bunch of pictures of people's mouths and the inside of their mouth and just around their mouth and their tongue
hmm
and their teeth. And,
A lot of gums. A lot of gums.
bro, I have never seen so many deformed lips in my life. The lips everywhere. I was like, are those real? Like, was this person shot in the mouth? Like, what happened? I don't understand these pictures. But yes, there was a lot of good. But can we talk about the end and the
Can you recreate a picture for us though on your screen, just like
yeah,
you were
yeah.
doing the shots from
My
Skinamarink?
hold on. My favorite one. This is my favorite one. Ready? Hold on, let me get right.
Hey man, that's how someone looks.
That was it. And
Isn't that the one
yeah.
he bought? Isn't that the one he bought or something? It was so weird.
Probably, but it looked like the lips had been like a cheese grater had went over them or something. It was just weird, man. It's just weird. And then you get the butt pictures at the end. He just takes pictures of butts, and that's
Well,
art,
that was
man.
kind of
That's art.
that was kind of funny when that one girl was like, "That's me, by the way." I
That's
just walked up.
that's me.
You could go ahead and look. No,
Go
I
ahead,
don't
take a
want to.
look.
No, go
funny.
ahead. No, go.
She
Go ahead,
got
look.
angry. She's like, look at him, like, look in my butt.
But those scenes really transported me back to my 20s because we went to a lot of art galleries with Joey, and they got it right, man. There's the band playing, the instrumental music in the corner. Someone going around, or there's a table with like cheese and crackers and little cups of wine, and just things
And a
on
bunch of
walls
pictures
that,
of butts.
yeah.
I will never forget. I think I went to you. I went with you to this one. There was a guy had a couch, and this
Oh,
couch was used for people having sex, and he recorded them having sex on this couch. And then he just had this couch for display, and then he had a video of these people having sex on the couch, and I'm just like, why?
weren't there
Why? Why?
stains all over the couch?
Yes, yes, the
Oh
couch.
my.
No, oh my, nothing. That was disgusting. Well, how is that art? Like, I don't understand how that's art. And here we
Yeah,
are, pictures of butts and mouths, art,
yeah.
tongues. Oh man, that tongue that was zoomed in, that was gnarly looking, man. It looked
Mm-hmm.
like it was a fish scale, like.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was very interesting. But I laughed because I'm like, man, that really is art. Like you're not popular unless you're doing weird things like that. So those pictures will forever scar. Well, no, the mouths more than the butts. The mouths were weird. All those pictures, man, they'll forever scar me.
I wasn't a huge fan of, even though I watched an interview with the director and she did this intentionally, and she had a good reason for doing it, but aesthetically, I didn't like the look of the wide lens that was used. It reminded me of a fisheye lens.
That was
It
my other
was,
gripe with this movie.
yeah. So
It
she
was
was saying
terrible.
that she's saying that like it's almost like giving you peripheral vision, right? So she's saying like she didn't like over the shoulder shots for conversations. So she felt it's more realistic if you're talking to someone and you're looking at them, but through your peripheral you're still seeing what's going on here. This guy's walking with a crate, this person's buying something. So that was the feel that she wanted to create, but it just seemed like a Missy Elliott 1998 music video. It just didn't work
Yeah.
for me.
I don't care what's in my peripheral unless it's like coming at me. So why do I need to see that in a movie? And she used it often,
Mm-hmm.
often like that lens, man. And it
Mm-hmm.
was it really that camera angle, that camera lens with the music of just the random noises. There were some scenes I was just like, oh my gosh, this is just
Yeah.
but the chemistry of the characters didn't pull me out of the movie,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
So I,
Right.
I, I have to mention that. Like while
Yeah.
those things were jarring, like that fisheye was jarring
Yeah.
to the bitter end. It was not
Well,
enjoyable.
and I think what also didn't take me out of it was that even though I didn't like the use of that lens, what was in the shot I still liked. It
Yeah,
was
right,
it was colorful, the streets were cool, like, so the setting was still good. It was just the use of that lens was not effective in my
right.
opinion.
Yeah, if we had more things going on in the peripheral and not someone just walking by, then I can justify the action. But if you're just using that to show normal ambiance and just hey, you're on a street and this is the feel, we don't need that, like, because that's
Yeah.
not the point of it. The point of the
Mhm.
scene is what they're doing, how they're
Yeah.
what they're conversing about, how
Yeah.
they're conversing, how they're acting
Mm.
with, like, that's the point. They're the point. We don't need to see everything else around you.
Did
Yeah,
you
uh-huh.
did you guys ever see a show called New York Undercover?
I used to love New York Undercover,
Yeah.
bro. Come on.
Never seen
In
that.
between shots, though, it would have this wide-eyed lens of like the city and things happening, and that's what it would remind me when it was like they're talking. I'm like, and it pulls you away. I'm like, hey man, it's just like New York Undercover. I can't focus on anything because like I want to look over here when I should be over here.
Well,
So,
and to Mark's point, I think that in a story that's this grounded, you shouldn't have those type of visual effects that distract from just what's happening, because it's not that type of movie. It is not a Michel Gondry movie where like you're in a dream and then you're in a fantasy and then there's cartoons and then there's talking fish, and like it wasn't that. It was a very grounded movie, and that effect was just odd thrown in the middle of it throughout the film. Um,
Off 10.
yeah. Um,
well,
I
this was
give
her
it
first movie, right, or no?
her
Yeah.
first feature.
Yeah, so she's probably just trying to say, hey, this is going to be my style. Here come 15 more like this.
This is her lens flare.
Yeah, I guess. We'll have to accept it for what it is.
I do give it credit though because this is a very modern story, um, and yet I appreciated that it wasn't full of like Gen Z jargon or lingo or ideas. It still felt very relatable, even though the characters are young. They're living in today. It's been a long time since I was in my early 20s, but they didn't drown you in just trying to be super relevant, super contemporary to what is culture and what is cool today. I mean, it was still dressed that way, but at least the characters and the dialogue weren't so wrapped up in that you're just like, this is just for another generation. It's not for me. It still felt very broad in that sense, and relatable even for me or for us.
Yeah.
So I
No,
appreciate that.
What do
I
you think
agree.
about the way they handled Mona?
Which one?
Because, well, Mona was a trans, but
Oh,
but they didn't make a big deal about it. It was just a character who was like,
yeah.
because you were saying that,
I don't
that's what
know
I
if it
started thinking
was
about.
a trans character or
Just gay.
a drag queen.
Mm.
Well, yeah, this is true.
I
But
like I like the character.
yeah, but I like that they didn't harp on it. They didn't make a big
Yeah,
deal. It's like, hey, we need that key. Well, what am I gonna get?
yeah,
So
yeah. Nah, I thought it was actually like, um I mean, that character, that actor played his role well. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed his time on screen.
It
Um,
fit. I don't know why. It
yeah,
just fit. Like it didn't feel out of place. I didn't roll my eyes going, "Oh, here we go." I
yeah,
I guess, it didn't seem over the top.
yeah.
yeah.
He
So,
is a karaoke bar. Considering the character, but
well, they're clearly very artistic, right?
yeah.
Like Yaz is a costume designer. Nathan is, a photographer that does these. So it's very believable that within this sphere of friendship of art artists, there's going to be people all over the map. It'd be different if it was like three guys sitting in a bar in Milwaukee, and then they're that's probably not as likely to happen in that setting.
That is a scene I want to see, though.
Like a bunch of guys like the Matt Damon character from Stillwater just sitting around, and then they got this best friend. Hey,
Oh, that scene writes itself.
See? That's good. That's good. I like that.
So again, I had an interesting experience watching this movie because I liked it. I liked it a lot. Um, It was nice, and at 82 minutes, good runtime, entertaining, funny, very likable
Beautiful runtime.
characters. Again, what's unrealistic to me is that you could fall in love or come to love someone within 24 hours. To me, that fits more under the category of infatuation. Um, Again, not to say that that can't happen, it's just not likely. And I think that, again, we see this from Hollywood, we've seen it, and I don't think I think even myself as a young person I was affected by it, creating these unrealistic expectations of what love is or what I expected out of it. So, not even though I was aware of that and I'm not a huge fan of that, for some reason at the end, in that final scene, and everything that was happening, from him being in that other art exhibit, on however many floors up he was in this building, to then Yaz being in the boat, their conversation, the music playing in the background, then he's running out, rushing to her, then she's stuck on the boat, she's not sure where it's going, they're trying to meet up. Dude, I was getting a little emotional, like in a good way, like I did feel, maybe a little condensation or something, like building up. And it really was, I think, just it triggered like just this joy, it was this celebration that was really touching and moving. And again, I don't know what how to define, quote unquote, that these characters are good people, you know, but they were kind, they were generous, they didn't have bad intentions, they had been hurt, but they were still, really there were things there that just made them likable and made you root for them. And so there was just something about them kind of finally having their moment that I was very moved and very touched by it. And it really surprised me. It really caught me off guard. I was kind of like, what is happening here? Why am I having this reaction? But that's what happened. I take it you don't relate.
I think Mark's on mute.
Sorry, I don't know if I want to admit to that or if I want to just let you be on that island by yourself of having some misty eyes.
Admit
Uh,
to it. Go on. No.
no, it did work out. I like how it played out in the end. Um, you're rooting for them both at that point. Um, and that's kind of like the cherry on top, and that's how the movie should. That's a good movie for you, you know.
Yeah.
You're when you're feeling those emotions, and you're able to start rooting for people and be like, man, it's really gonna happen.
Yeah.
Um,
They just like stealthily stack things up and built to
yeah,
this little pyramid that you're like, oh, I didn't even know I was going to feel this for you, but you realize you've been rooting for them.
yeah.
Hmm.
So even though this movie was completely, well, not completely, but there was a lot of random and quirky. We're gonna use moments. I will say my favorite one was when they were at the barbecue and "Sign Your Name" was played, and the guy's like, "Wait, let that play," and he starts singing it, bro. I died because I grew up on that song, man. Like that's a song that I've heard so often in so many places, and so like I don't know why, but when he said let it play, I was like, yes, let it play, man. And I started vibing in my house. I'm like, man, yo, I literally paused the movie and went to Spotify and pulled it up to listen to the whole thing because it's been forever since I've heard it. But man, that was just such a good song. But that scene just made no sense for the movie, you know? It was like, why did we just witness this guy? Why is he singing this song?
Yeah.
So while I did appreciate and enjoy the song, it was moments like that that made me kind of go, like, are they? It wasn't funny. I didn't find that funny. I was just like, oh man, I love that song, you know.
Hmm.
So I wasn't sure if they were trying to be funny or they were appreciating something. I don't know.
But I think what it did was it pulled you into like, even though again it's not believable their little love story, it brought you into like, hey, this is what life is like. You go to a barbecue that you don't know anyone at. You're like, oh, play that song. I'm like, okay, this guy's cool. It was just a piece of life that you're like, oh, I can relate to this. And I think all that built onto us being able to attach to Dom and to Yaz and say, hey, I like him.
You know, considering how the movie had that foreshadowing where Yaz gave the lie of the karaoke, and then later in the
Yeah.
movie they ended up playing it out. Um, I kind of want to look at like the full lyrics for that song, and what if there? I feel like maybe there's some foreshadowing there. So that guy was singing that song because the lyrics play out for this story that we're watching, and in the long run, we were just, kind of. I don't know.
Hmm.
I'm gonna look at that because I feel like the movie had some foreshadowing like that.
Yep. Yeah, there's a few instances of that. That's why I think the movie invites you to repeated viewings. Even with some of the quirkiness, like there's something that they were sent that they came to say that kind of um, uh, it kind of wrapped up the philosophy of the movie, which is something that she says at the beginning. It was something like, "I'm gonna let it happen," or "I'm gonna just go with it," or something like that. That he
I'm
then
gonna see what
repeats.
happens.
Yeah, I'm gonna see what happens. He repeats it later on, but there's one point past the middle of the movie where they walk by somewhere and there's posters on the wall that say, "I'm gonna see what happens." So there's a lot of quirky and different things like that that I think you have to watch it more than once to actually
Yeah.
try to pick up on everything that's on the screen and everything that's going on. Yeah, definitely foreshadowing.
Yeah.
And then,
Well, I
uh,
don't think the kid on the skateboard screaming had anything to do for foreshadowing. I
yeah.
feel like this guy singing that song
Dude,
played
how
a little
about
bit more to it.
the guy on the hoverboard? He's one of the top credits on IMDb.
Why?
Yeah, it's the hoverboard guy. He kept
That's his
popping up
credit.
throughout the movie.
Hoverboard guy. That's awesome.
Um, but I was gonna say,
See, now that I didn't notice him multiple times. I
I think
gotta
it was
check
in
that out
both of
then.
the art gallery, like at the art gallery at the beginning and then at the one at the end. He like
Mm.
opens the door to get into it, and the guy slides out like really quickly.
Yeah. Okay. That's pretty
Um,
good.
Dude, I was impressed with the one shot where he's like it's like in a theater. I think it was when he's watching like they're acting it out like a play, and then the audience is all full of DOMs. I wonder how they did that. It's just green screen. I don't know.
I mean, I maybe, but usually how that works out is they have to record him in every single seat
True. Yeah.
acting out, and then they just layer it over and play
Yeah,
it together. That's
Yeah.
usually how it goes.
Yeah.
I mean, you could CGI that, but that's a lot of money.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's easier just to
So
put on a tripod and you just sit in every
yeah,
seat and act some stuff out.
yeah.
It's
And
crazy, man.
considering how long, go ahead.
No, no, go ahead.
I was just saying, considering how how quick that scene was, that also makes me think that they did it that way. Because like
Mm,
you record 5 seconds in every single one of those seats and then play it again. That's
yeah.
a wrap.
It's crazy how
Um,
much in movies, like how much time goes into like sometimes a 1 second shot. You
yeah.
know, if it's like from a high angle, you got to set up all your camera equipment there. You got people there. It's probably hours of work to get like a 1 or 2 second shot. It's crazy.
And then imagine like a place where that uses multiple different like um locations. But you're going to Germany to record in this area for 2 minutes
Hmm.
for a 5 second shot.
Yeah.
It's always crazy, but yeah, that's how it rolls.
Dude, this was one of my favorite quotes of the movie by
Mm.
Jules. He says, "Just because I know how to rock a kimono doesn't mean I won't f you up."
That's
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
good. Yeah, see, for Jules, I wasn't sure if at the end of the day he's like a d-bag, or if it's just like she wasn't, I don't know, up to his part, because those artist types are always weird.
Yeah,
And even the interaction they had with him, he was weird.
yeah.
So they really did not play into that breakup at all. Like, we have no idea what happened with
Well,
that.
and what they did show of him was mainly from her perspective when she was
Yeah,
describing the breakup, which it's impossible to know how much of that was real.
right. Yeah, he
Um,
seemed like a pig.
And
Like, he didn't want to be with her, but then she's like, "Oh, I'll give you a blowjob." He's like, "Oh, hey,
yeah,
hey, that's."
uh, and then the only time we did see him, of course, he's pissed because they broke into his house.
Yeah,
yeah. But there is an interesting detail which makes me think that he's not such a bad guy. They just weren't right for each other. But that Tabby, his current girlfriend, um, Yaz says at one point that she was his life coach,
Yeah,
which is hilarious.
that was funny, but that works out. That makes sense. If
Yeah.
this person's really going to steer me in the right direction, why wouldn't I want to spend the rest of my life with him?
Mm. All right. Well, that's pretty much all the notes that I have about the movie. I do have some fun facts. If we're ready
I
for it.
actually have my own.
Fun facts.
You jumped the gun there, my friend.
You said have fun facts. I just go.
My brain is liquefied.
What were you
Well,
going to
Mark
say,
has
Mark?
a fun fact. Mark has
I
a
was
fun
saying
fact.
I actually have a fun fact myself for this movie.
All right. Well, what I said was I'm ready to go into fun facts if you guys are ready, unless you have anything more to say. We don't need to hear the song. I see you queuing something up. We don't need to hear the song again.
Kevin, instead of answering yes, he's ready, Kevin played the song.
Well, what's your fun fact?
Oh, so
I got one too.
going back to the barbecue, the auntie said that Dom can have anything he likes except for the J. Ray.
Mm-hmm.
Now, J. Ray and Nephew is a Jamaican company that sells liquor, and not liquor. I'm sorry. Is it vodka? And I worked for a company that actually produced packaging and shipped throughout the Caribbean for J. Ray and Nephew.
Oh,
That's my fun
nice.
fact.
So it's a vodka. It's not a rum.
Rum. I'm sorry. Yeah, rum.
Oh,
Jamaican
yeah,
rum. I'm an
Jamaican,
idiot.
yeah.
Sorry. It's
So-
Unless there's some Russian
They-
Jamaicans running
No,
around.
no, they had the white rum. That J. Ray was
Mhm.
like 80 proof or 100 proof or something like that.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it was.
Yeah.
Did you ever get to try
That's
any?
my-
You ever get to take
Oh,
any
of course.
home?
Oh, of course,
J-Ray.
bro. I
Okay.
still have bottles to this day, man, because that stuff is so strong. You take a sip and you're done. But they drink it over there like water, bro. Water.
Clean your car engine with it.
They're cleaning out their heart and their car.
Yeah. All right, Kevin. What's your fun? That was fun. What's yours, Kevin?
Well, I have one. I don't know if you're going to mention it. So I'm
Oh,
gonna wait
so
for
you're
my
gonna
car.
defund his fact.
Well,
Do
no,
it.
I want to see if he mentions it. If he doesn't, then I'm going to come
No,
in. At
say
the
it. Say it. Say it. Say it. Say it.
There
end.
wasn't a.
Okay,
I
Okay,
want
go
you
ahead.
to debunk him. Go ahead.
do you have a fun fact about Colin Firth?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
then let's go.
And how he was in the movie? That's not fun. We saw him.
Colin
Yeah,
Firth
cameo.
was in the movie, but the burrito stand that he worked at was called Love Guactually.
That's so funny.
Well, I would say it's more love, guactually.
Guactually, yeah, that's what I
Yeah,
meant.
guac.
English
Because,
is my second language.
Okay.
English
Bro.
is my second language. I feel like I should have said that the very first episode.
But
Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough.
So I do get mixed up sometimes and mispronounce things.
I did enjoy
did-
that.
I did find myself saying, I hate guac, but I want that.
Want that shirt?
Yeah.
Dude, there wasn't much on this. The only other thing I can tell you is that the film premiered at Sundance Film Festival. Not that fun. But
The day wait. Here's a fun fact. It premiered there the day before my brother's birthday this year. I find that fun.
Stupendous.
It's kind of fun. I guess it's more fun than when Juan delivered it.
It's more fun than hey, it debuted at Sundance.
That is interesting because it's an independent film from the UK.
All right, fair enough.
But Sundance is like chock full of indies.
Yes.
And again, but that's why, again, going back to that soundtrack, that is why it's interesting that they have all those songs in it because it's independent. Yeah. I couldn't find any information on what the budget for this was, but either some people did them favors or, to get a Tribe Called Quest song cannot be cheap. They also had some John, what's his name?
But yo, it could be out of that point where it's no longer. What is it, like 20
No, that's like
years?
60 years. 60 years, like from the point that they die or something.
Yeah,
Oh,
no, but
die? No, it's
yeah, but it's also probably the rights to use in a movie for even though We Love a Tribe Called Quest isn't probably astronomical. Speaking movie wise, it'll hurt my pocket, but movie wise,
maybe.
it's not like any U2 or Rolling Stone song on there.
No.
And
U2 is the
and
most overrated band.
yeah, and also
Who?
like
You too?
U2.
there's some hate, but also she directed music videos, so she was probably in the industry, was able to like new people get little discounts, use the
Yeah.
Groupons and all that.
Yeah.
Them coupons go hard, bro.
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
Okay.
well,
All right. Those were fun facts for Raine.
with one.
Now I will begin the rating portion of the show. Just to remind everyone that we rate on a Little Jerry's scale of 1 to 5, 1 being we hated it, 5
One
being
being zeros and ones.
we absolutely loved it. 1 to 5 Little Jerry's scale. Here we go. So for me, I did mention some of the weak points of the movie. Yaz, her situation with her boyfriend, which informs part of who she is, a little bit underdeveloped. The use of the wide lens was just uncalled for, as well as a few other things, but not huge knocks overall. Still a surprise, a very enjoyable movie with great characters, a good, cute, again, romantic, and a fresh take to some degree on the romantic comedy. So job well done. For me, it's a 4.5 out of 5 for Raine.
Interesting. I'll go next. I'm next, right? Oh boy, Money
Yes.
in the Bank.
Yeah.
Okay, this one's a bit tough for me because I'm against decimal points. Um, so I've been battling this whole episode, hoping someone would sway me left or right, but that did not happen. This movie is cute. I don't know if that's been mentioned, but it is a cute movie. Um, there are some mishaps, like the beginning soundtrack, whatever plays at the beginning when the movie starts. I really like that noise. Just made me think that this was going to be just a terrible movie. Um, so that I feel like that's an issue. Like I shouldn't be hating myself for watching this movie 2 minutes in because of some crazy music that's being played. And it just didn't fit with the scenes. Like as the scenes would go and we would get this music, it didn't fit well. Like, there was no rhyme or reason, no theme or anything. So that was tough. The fisheye, I did have a problem with it. It didn't take away from the movie. It didn't at all. Um, the point was still taken and heard from those scenes, but it was frustrating to watch those because you know just if the fish eye is just not it's not a good look for a whole movie. You want to use it once or twice, fine, but I mean it was chock full of, I mean it was just all over the place in this movie. It was uncalled for. Um, those two things make me want to put it at a 3, but I find myself recommending this, to someone,
Kristen watched this
somebody.
with you?
She wanted to watch it,
I
but
feel like she would like it.
I told her I watched it. She walked in on me watching it. She's like, "Oh, I wanted to see this." Yeah, I know. I told her I think she would like it. I do think she would like it. So I'm probably gonna end up watching it again. But I feel like 4 is too high. 4 is too high because while the story wasn't bad, it also wasn't. I mean, it wasn't nothing call home about. It wasn't that funny. It had some moments where I shot some extra air out of my nose, but I wasn't like, slapping my leg laughing. Um,
Man, we're observing a
yeah,
wrestling
man.
match
This
between
is
you and a decimal
this is
point, and I'm on the edge of my
Oh no,
seat with
there is
who's
no
gonna
that's
pin
the
who.
problem. That's the problem. There's no decimal. I'm either
It's
It's
going
either a
3 or
between
3 or a
4.
4.
three
Okay.
or
Yeah,
four.
and
This is
it's
but a
tough, man.
3.5 is that's gonna be right in your sweet spot. Embrace that
No, but I feel like
3.5. That's where you want.
I feel like a 3.5 is an insult, but I feel like a 4 is just too high. I
So
need
you're
a number
saying
that doesn't exist.
3.75.
This is the beauty of the decimal point. You could go 3.9.
I think
Just
I
kissing
I
that
think I
4.
gotta go a little potpourri, bro. 3.798365921. Just so I could feel better about myself.
I'm gonna round that up
Um,
just so you know.
No, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go with Juan. It's four little Jerry's for me. I feel like, especially that I feel like I feel like I'm gonna end up watching this again in the next couple of days, and I do find myself watching it again in the next couple of weeks. So, that alone, bam, four little Jerry's.
Gotcha.
Hmm.
Good
Enough
choice.
gripes to keep it at a 4.
Good. So,
Good.
my turn. Mine's not going to be such an epic battle that we just saw. It was cute. It was fun. I enjoyed it. I will recommend it to people. If anyone says, "Hey, I only have an hour and a half. I want to watch something," Lane it, buddy. I'm like, you'll thank me later. Like I said, I'll recommend it for guys and girls. I think there's stuff for everyone to enjoy in it. There's things that we can nitpick on if we're looking at it with a cinematic eye. I don't think most people will. Most people will be like, "Hey, I enjoyed it." So for that, I'm probably with Juan. I'm a 4.5.
Very nice. Oh wait, what'd your mom think of it?
My mom did not see this. I watched it this morning when no one was home.
Oh, no girls, no mom. Wow,
Is
No,
this
no,
a
because
is this a Wolfpack special with the girl?
this is.
if it wasn't for that scene on his phone, it would be like, oh, I know that. I'm like, like I would watch this with girls, but for that, I will not watch it with them.
Yeah.
But yeah, like,
Oh,
and it was
yeah.
no, like I had to go to the gym, and I was like, oh, let me watch this movie. We're gonna knock it out. Did it like that. Loved it again, and it was fast and fun.
Yeah. We didn't go back
Was
to
it
the
Fast and
penis.
Furious?
Oh, Juan,
I-
wait, Juan's got penis on the mind. Let's go.
I have to ask because that was so weird, bro. That is not a normal thing for guys to do. I've been to the bathroom plenty of times with my friends, with
Yes.
strangers.
And
where
you know what it looks
stalls
like
next
here?
to-
I'm gonna show you what it looks like. Me and Juan go to the bathroom together. This is what he sees.
Yeah. Straight
That's it.
ahead.
or you look up and out.
Straight
Not
ahead.
even. Not even. Not even. I'm so turned over. Juan can't see anything.
Dude, but and I thought they were I thought the way they were gonna do it was like, maybe something dropped and he looked and so it entered into his eye line. It wasn't
Yeah.
like that at all. Like he was straight up like, I'm so curious about what
Word.
you're packing.
Were they dressed as Harry Potter?
It looked like,
No.
I think they were at school.
Oh, because they
That-
had like the whole.
I think that's how they like it dressed at school.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I laughed at that because I've never I think in my whole lifetime I've only ever wanted to see the balls of another man because he had a hernia and his balls were like this big. So it was just like more I got to see this marvel, like this
Yeah.
is incredible. Like your intestines are in your scrotum right now. I need to see this.
Yeah.
And outside of that, no. I've never seen and I mean unless you've got a hernia, I'm not going to want to see what you
Well,
got packing.
and then if they were in school, then that happened years ago. So
Yeah.
it either was so
Getting gross.
glorious that it just became ingrained in his mind, or he's seen it more than
Listen.
once because he
Listen.
I mean,
recognized
considering
it.
they're
And
peeing like that, they've probably seen it multiple times.
Lemon, if you see one, it's gonna be burned in there. You're like, whoa,
That's it.
whoa,
Never
whoa.
forget that.
what do they call it? The one-eyed snake?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is what they call.
All right. And on that note, we'll leave you with that image. We will bid thee farewell. Go and watch
Fare thee
Raine.
well.
Yeah, go and watch Raine. It's streaming on Hulu. It's only 82 minutes. Very satisfying
Again,
for that
beautiful.
time,
It's
that
worth it.
length.
Yeah.
Please remember to, again, check out all the links in the description. Follow us, subscribe, make sure you never miss an episode. And if you want to, support us and share, like, help us shoot up rankings so that other people can discover us, but also you. Go ahead and share it. Post it on your timeline. If you like it, retweet it. Add a little comment in there like, hey, check these guys out, or really enjoyed this review. Really, really helps us. We appreciate it. But yeah, we love you all. Thank you. And with that, I say later, haters.
Sign your name. Love you.